Welcome. In front of me is a Nokia X10, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this device. So, without wasting any time, let's just pop it straight open. There we go. So right off the bat we get the phone, and we get a case under here. And here we get just a cable. So it looks like Nokia stopped including chargers as well. A little bit of a shame. Anyway, I'm just going to drop that back in here and yeet that to the side. So here we got the phone. This kind of like a deep green color. Looks pretty nice, I would say. Now, one thing to mention, the phone, the screen has already a pre-applied foil on it, so that's nice. I do like to see that. I would like to see the phone turn on as well. Come on. Anything? Sign of life, please. Come on. Any sign of life? Okay, so it's completely dead, which is quite odd considering usually phones are halfway charged, because that's usually what's best for the battery, not being completely freaking dead. So that's a little bit of a minus. Now the reason I mentioned this is technically lithium-ion batteries are best stored in like halfway state. That just kind of doesn't really put all that much strain on the battery than when it's completely dead like this one is. So this might cause some problems in the long run for devices that are being just kept on a shelf in this kind of dead state. So yeah, that might not be the best kind of thing. But anyway, disregarding that, I guess I'm just not gonna boot it up because it's dead. So I'm gonna show the unboxing as it truly is, which is, well, dead. So I'll flip it over and go over the camera setup starting off. So this is a quadruple camera setup, but don't get fooled by this. This is just a marketing scheme. Technically we have only one, maybe two cameras right here. So the main one is a 48 megapixel sensor. That's the one that would count as a camera. Then we got a 5 megapixel ultra wide, usable, but at 5 megapixels you're not going to get too much quality. Now what isn't usable is the 2 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth. Those are just sticker cameras. You can take a hammer and smash them out with a nail. It doesn't matter. You won't use them. You have zero reason to use them, nor should you. So you paid for cameras on a phone that are just absolute garbage, because that's what companies think that you want, and they expect you to be, they treat you, maybe not expect you, they treat you like you're an idiot, that you see for cameras, your brain fires neurons, must be good. That's not the case. So we technically here have just a single camera setup, maybe dual if you really want to stretch it. The two other ones are just trash and shouldn't be used. So at the front we do have a single selfie. It's an 8 megapixel, nothing special, so there we go. Now going into the display, which I can't show, this is a 6.67 inch display with a 1080p resolution. It's an IPS LCD display with a typical brightness of 450 nits, 395 pixels per inch, and about 79, almost 80% screen to body ratio. So that's basically all about the screen. And then moving on to the internals, we have a couple of versions of this phone. At the very lowest end you can get a 64 gig storage with 6 gigs of RAM, and at the very high end you can get 128 gigs with 6 gigs of RAM. There is also a middle ground kind of weird one, considering it has 128 gigs of storage and 4 gigs of RAM. So you get more storage though less RAM, which that's stupid. Now, the reason I mentioned this is because RAM is the only thing that you probably cannot upgrade, and if I'm correct, this phone most likely has expendable storage. I will check it just to be certain. And would you look at that, it's expendable storage. So 64 gigs might be good enough for you, but 4 gigs of RAM with more storage just seems like a stupid decision. You can upgrade storage, you can't upgrade RAM. RAM in the long run might be more useful to you, at least in, like, for instance, a year or two, when apps will start taking more of your RAM, or maybe you filled up the device, you tend to use maybe 2 apps or something like that. All these things will basically make it feel like the device is slower just because it's lacking in RAM, while there is highly doubtful chance that if you pop in a terabyte as SD card, you will be running out of storage. So why? Now, I understand if, for instance, they made a 64 gig storage with 4 gigs of RAM, that would have been fine, but this one just meh. Anyway, now last thing would be the battery. So here we have a 4470 mAh battery for such a big device. This is also a quite small battery, I would say. I guess it's average probably, but it could be closer to like 5,000, especially with a device like this. So yeah. Now, when it comes on to charging this battery, you can look at about 18 watts of charging speed. So this will mean that you probably will need about 2 hours to charge this device to full, if not more, when it's completely dead. Yeah, not the best kind of charging speed right here. So to kind of conclude this, I'm gonna start off the conclusion with the price tag, which is about $250, and then give my opinion here, which is that this device isn't worth $250. There is nothing setting it apart from all the other budget devices. The price is a little bit too high for what you get right here, though arguably there is one redeeming quality. It comes with a Snapdragon 480 5G, so you do have the 5G connectivity and relatively okay processor, but that's about it. You can get other phones, for instance Xiaomi's, I think Motorola's have some. What else is there? Samsung, I'm not exactly sure if they have any kind of like decent budget devices, but there's a bunch of them that are 5G and probably cost the same amount. They won't have the Snapdragon processor, they will have something like a MediaTek, but it will be a better MediaTek processor, faster one than what you get, for instance, in here. So there we go. Now, one last thing that I'll mention, which I can't really show, is one of the benefits of having something like a Nokia over, for instance, Xiaomi or any other phone, would be that Nokia does come with relatively stock Android. There's no bloatware included on it, it's just bare bones Android, and to some people that is important, and that's basically what you get here. So maybe it's worth paying a little bit more for something like this. But anyway, with that being said, if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.